Welcome to the Certified Penetration Tester course overview video. See, in this video, we will be looking at why Certified Penetration Testing as a course is relevant. What are the job roles and responsibilities that are relevant to this particular course? And we will also see the other essential aspects of this course. Now, let us start with the need for cybersecurity. See, this slide depicts the cybersecurity data breaches that has occurred in 2021. And this shows the most common reasons for cybersecurity breaches. You can see social engineering attacks. It is followed by basic web application attacks and system intrusions. So web application attacks and system intrusions, it actually happens by means of hacking. Social engineering attacks also are mostly the first phase of any successful hacking attacks. So there is a need to protect against hacking of applications and systems. Because if an attacker has unauthorized access to our systems or applications, what are the consequences? One of the most costly issues that is faced by organizations today, or we can say one of the most costly cybersecurity issues, is ransomware attacks. Attackers attack systems, and the ransomware, which is a malware, it encrypts the data on the system, or sometimes it will steal the data from the system. Now, if you want to get back the data, you have to pay the attacker. So you can see what is the amount of money that is being paid: $70 million, $40 million, $30 million. Now, these are the kind of money that is being paid out by organizations to get back their data. So there is a need to protect against ransomware attacks, or there is a need to protect against any potential hacking attempts. Now, if data is stolen from us, what are the consequences? If data is stolen from us, let us say it is our client data. When we lose client data, we are violating client contracts, we are violating so many laws and regulations. The client will take us to the court of law. If the court finds us responsible for the issue, we will be asked to pay some fines. So the kind of fines and penalties that organizations has to pay as a result of cyber attacks is really huge. So you can see Equifax, which is a credit card company based out of US, they paid $575 million as fines and penalties for their data breach. $230, $148, $125, $85. Now, these are the kind of money that is being paid, huge amounts. So there is really the need for organizations to protect against hacking attacks. And there is a lot of demand for cybersecurity professionals all over the world now. You can see globally around 3 million cybersecurity professionals are required. And we have only half the resources available. And if you look at the remuneration of cybersecurity professionals from this graph, from this particular table, you can see that security professionals on an average, they draw more salary than other IT professionals. So a career in cybersecurity, it has a lot of potential. There is a lot of demand for it, and it is really rewarding with respect to salaries and other kind of benefits. So we said there is a need to protect against cybersecurity incidents, or there is a need to protect against attacks. Now, any organization who is serious about security, they will have an information security officer who is responsible for securing information within the organization. And he will protect against any sort of cybersecurity attacks. If it is a large organization, there will be chief information security officers, and chief information security officers. Under them, there will be other sub-departments. There will be a security compliance team, and there will be a security operations team, and they can also have other teams under them. Now, under the security operations, a lot of activities are being conducted, and one of the critical activities which is done under security operations is vulnerability assessments and penetration testing. So this is what our course is all about: vulnerability assessments and penetration testing. We conduct regular vulnerability assessment and penetration testing to check whether our organization is vulnerable and to check whether our organization can really be attacked. So penetration testers, they can work either under the security operations team, or sometimes they can also be a part of the security audit teams. So these two job roles, security audit, security auditor, or a security operations analyst doing vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. These are the two potential roles for any candidate who's doing this particular course. In addition to this course can also give added value to other security professionals like cybersecurity analyst, security engineer, security consultant, etc., etc. It is also useful to those kind of roles. Now let us see what are the topics that we cover under this particular course. We have 18 modules under this course, and it will take a total of 80 hours. So 18 modules and total of 80 hours. We start the course with the fundamentals of networking, the fundamentals of cybersecurity, and the fundamentals of Linux. Then we move to anonymity and VPN, that is module 3. So how we can enable anonymity of communication on an internet. We don't want our communications to be tracked. We don't want to know who has initiated the communication. So to achieve this, we have different methods. We use VPN solutions, as well as we also use a concept known as onion routing based solutions like the Tor browsers. Now after that then we slowly start with the concepts of penetration testing. See, if you look at penetration testing, essentially it starts with the planning of the penetration test. Then you have to gather information regarding your organization, or you have to gather information regarding your target. So how do you gather information regarding your target? You can do it using open source intelligence. So what is meant by open source intelligence? How can you gather open source intelligence using different tools? That will be covered. And once we cover the concepts of open source intelligence, that is information gathering, then we move to the next phase, that is scanning and enumeration. So here we are essentially talking about network discovery scan. We scan a target, see what are the open ports, see what are the running services, what is the version of the services running, what are the operating systems installed. These kind of information will be obtained as a part of scanning and enumeration. We will discuss and we will use all the tools that are relevant in this section. After that, we move to vulnerability assessment. In vulnerability assessment, we are gathering more information regarding the target. That is, we are trying to understand what are the vulnerabilities in the target. So vulnerabilities means missing patches and configuration issues. So how we can do vulnerability assessment? What are the tools? How to use those tools? That is module 6. Then we come to module 7. So as the part of penetration testing, we might need to break passwords. We might come across an application, but we don't know the password, so we will try to break the password. Or we get hold of some password database. We want to know what are the passwords saved in the database, so we have to break passwords. Or we might get a file that is password protected, we want to open the file. So for that also we need password cracking. So what are the different methods of password cracking? What are the tools and how do we use those tools? That is module 7. Then we go to module 8. In module 8, we are trying to do exploitation. See, in vulnerability assessment, we see or we understand what are the vulnerabilities associated with our target. Once we understand the vulnerabilities associated with our target, the next thing is how to exploit those vulnerabilities and gain access to that system. After we gain access to that system, we will do post-exploitation activities like bypassing access control, privilege escalation, creating a backdoor, cracking password databases, or using the target system as a pivot, conducting network scans. So how to do exploitation, how to do post-exploitation, what are the different tools, and how to use those tools. Then we move to domain 9, which is packet sniffing and deep packet inspection. So packet sniffing is nothing but monitoring the packets and understanding the packets. So typically packets will have different types of information. They will have header information, they will have trailer information, and they will also have the data. So what is meant by simple packet sniffing and what is meant by deep packet sniffing? What are the tools that use deep packet sniffing? How can you sniff passwords using some well-known tools? This will be discussed as a part of module 9. See, normally when we are doing scanning or penetration testing, the tools that the scanning activity, it can be detected by IDS, IPS devices or firewalls. So let us say we want to do a stealthy scanning without the detection by firewalls, IDS, IPS, etc. Those concepts we will cover here. In addition to this, we will also cover the fundamental concepts behind intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, and firewalls. Then we move to malware. See, malware is the payload that normally attackers use. So let us say, if I am an attacker, I exploit a vulnerability and I get access to a target system. After that, I will upload a payload on that particular target system. And the payload will do whatever I have programmed it to do. So that most of the cases, that payload will be malware. So what are the different types of malware? How can you detect malwares? What are the different types of anti-malware solutions? How can you skip malware detection by using Metasploit and related tools? Now all these things will be discussed in module 11. In 12, we come to denial of service attacks and distributed denial of service attacks. So what is meant by denial of service? What is meant by distributed denial of service? What are the different types of distributed denial of service and DOS attacks? We will understand the concepts, and we will also see how we can conduct denial of service and distributed denial of service using certain commonly used tools. Then we move to social engineering. Social engineering is an attack where the attacker contacts a user either through emails or telephone calls or through SMS. And the purpose of the attack is to trick the user, make the user reveal some information, or make the user click an attachment or click a URL that he's not supposed to click. So what are the different methods of conducting social engineering attacks? How we can conduct social engineering attacks using certain tools? All these things will be covered. After that, we move to module 14, which is web application penetration testing. Now, web applications have certain specific vulnerabilities which are specific to web applications. So we will look at the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. Then we will look at how we can use tools like burp suite to do a web application penetration testing, and we will develop, or we will stage a web application penetration testing environment, and we will see what are the different tools we can use and how we can use them, and how we can do a web application penetration testing. Now, another attack or another vulnerability that is common to web applications that can be exploited is called a buffer overflow. What is meant by buffer overflow? How buffer overflow can be conducted? And buffer overflow attack has different impacts. It can be denial of service. You can execute a malware using buffer overflow. There are so many things. So how do you execute, or how do you conduct buffer overflow? What are the different tools that you can use to conduct a buffer overflow? All these things will be done, or all these things will be discussed in module 15. Next is wireless penetration testing. We have wired networks and we have wireless networks. In a wireless network, we have an access point, and to the access point, all wireless devices, laptops, mobile phones, desktops, etc., are connected. So how do you conduct penetration testing on a wireless environment? What are the tools that you use? How do you conduct pre-connection attacks on wireless networks? How do you do password cracking in the case of wireless networks? All these things will be discussed. Then in module 17 and 18, we will discuss exclusively penetration testing. So we will go through what is meant by penetration testing, the different phases, what happens in each phase of penetration testing, that we will discuss. Then we will discuss the different types of penetration testing, like black box, white box, gray box, blind, double blind, internal, external, etc. Then we will move to penetration testing standards. So if we want to conduct penetration testing, there are certain best practices available for it. So we will discuss some of the best practices that are available in the industry for conducting penetration tests. And in the last section, we will discuss how to conduct penetration test as a project. So when you are conducting a penetration test, how it has to proceed. Let us say I am a penetration tester and I am conducting a penetration test. How it has to proceed, what all aspects are involved in it. And then we will see how we can conduct penetration testing on systems and applications in our internal network, how to conduct penetration testing on resources in the cloud, how to conduct penetration testing on mobile devices, how to conduct penetration testing on web applications, wireless network penetration testing. All these things will be discussed as separate projects, and each of these projects we will see how it can be executed. Now, all these concepts that we briefly discussed in all these modules, it will be first delivered as a instructor-led session. All the concepts will be discussed, the theoretical aspects will be clarified. After that, to support these theoretical concepts, we have labs available. And all the labs are available at the Pentest Garage website. So it consists a lot of challenges. Each challenge is a penetration testing lab. The candidates who are attending this particular course, they can do these according to their convenience. In addition to this, if the candidates feel that they want to review the concepts at a later phase, for that purpose, they can go to the RedTeam 360 website. There you have the Certified Penetration Tester course. If you click that, it will list you all the different modules, relevant modules, module 1 to module 18, and you have the relevant videos. You can select the videos and you can go through the concepts. So theoretical overview is there, and even labs are also recorded. In addition to this, you may also find some additional labs available at the RedTeam Radar website. So these are the 3 additional resources that is available. So the speciality of any course offered by RedTeam Hacker Academy is number one, instructor-led sessions delivered by quality instructors. In addition to this, the labs and the recorded videos that you can review at your convenience and that you can follow at your convenience. So it is a comprehensive package that really helps you in the preparation of this particular course. Now, if you look at the target audience for this particular course, it can be freshers, students, or it can be people who are in the industry. So whoever feels the contents of this particular course will be useful to them, it will be really useful for them. So the different target audiences are given here. In addition to this, if you look at the course duration is 80 hours. By the end of this 80 hours, you will have an exam. The exam code is 800-010. And once you pass the exam, you will be given the course certification by RedTeam Hacker Academy. In addition to this, the course delivery materials. So this is what we have already discussed. We have the classroom-based session followed by RedTeam 360, Pentest Garage, RedTeam Radar. These are the websites that are offered by RedTeam Hacker Academy, which we can use to prepare for the course. So this is briefly about the course. And I hope whatever we have discussed so far, it has been useful to you. And thank you all for watching this video.